Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The chatter surrounding San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk potentially joining the Washington Commanders has been growing steadily, and for good reason. After coming agonizingly close to snapping their losing streak against the Denver Broncos, a team considered one of the elite contenders in the NFL, the Commanders fell in overtime, bringing their record to 3 wins and 9 losses this season. It has been a campaign marred by injuries, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, including significant time missed by key playmakers and even quarterback Jayden Daniels, whose health and performance have become central to Washington's future plans. The team's struggles in the passing game and overall offensive production have made it clear that the front office must explore options to bolster their roster during the offseason, whether through free agency, trades, or the NFL draft, to avoid repeating the disappointments of this season. One player whose name keeps popping up in these discussions is none other than Daniels' former college teammate at Arizona State, Brandon Aiyuk, who now finds himself at a crossroads with the 49ers. The idea of reuniting Daniels and Aiyuk is tantalizing for both fans and analysts. The two share a history that dates back to their collegiate days, which could translate into immediate chemistry on the field, something the Commanders have lacked at times this season. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler highlighted this connection, noting that one team to potentially watch for Aiyuk is Washington. He is close with quarterback Jayden Daniels, his former teammate at Arizona State, and general manager Adam Peters, a John Lynch disciple from his time in San Francisco, understands the Aiyuk experience well. This insight underscores not only the personal connection between player and quarterback, but also the organizational familiarity that could make a transition smoother. Peters' understanding of Aiyuk's skill set, tendencies, and off-field considerations may provide the Commanders with an inside track that other teams simply do not have. However, this potential acquisition comes with undeniable risks, largely stemming from Aiyuk's injury history. Despite signing a lucrative 4-year, $120 million contract ahead of the 2024 season with the 49ers, Aiyuk suffered a devastating torn ACL and MCL in his right knee early in the season, effectively ending his year before it really began. Reports had suggested that he should have returned to practice by this point, but as of now, he has yet to step back on the field, leaving teams to weigh the potential reward against a significant risk. The injury alone makes any trade or signing a gamble, especially when factoring in the substantial financial commitment tied to Aiyuk's contract. The Commanders would need to carefully evaluate not only his medical status, but also his readiness to contribute at a high level immediately upon arrival. The risk-reward calculation extends beyond physical health. There has been off-field drama surrounding Aiyuk during his tenure in San Francisco, similar in some respects to the situation with Deebo Samuel in Washington. Samuel's controversies did not prevent the Commanders from integrating him successfully into their system, and the possibility of a 3-headed receiving corps featuring Samuel, Terry McLaurin, and Aiyuk is undeniably enticing. For quarterback Jayden Daniels, having 3 legitimate, high-caliber targets could transform the offense, providing him with multiple reliable options and opening up opportunities for more explosive plays downfield. This trio would represent one of the most dynamic receiving groups in the NFL, creating matchup nightmares for opposing defenses and significantly elevating the Commanders' offensive ceiling. The potential payoff of such a move might justify taking a calculated risk, especially given the team's current standing and the need to build toward a playoff-caliber roster. Washington's season, although disappointing, provides a context in which the team can focus on future planning without the immediate pressure of postseason contention. With a record that likely ensures they will miss the playoffs, the Commanders can turn their attention to constructing a roster capable of competing at the highest level in 2026. This includes evaluating which players can be retained, who might be traded, and which free agents or draft picks could bring immediate impact. Acquiring a player like Aiyuk would not only address a glaring need at wide receiver, but also send a message to fans and the league that the organization is serious about contending and willing to take strategic risks to improve the team. It would be a bold move that could reshape the identity of Washington's offense and provide Daniels with the weapons necessary to maximize his potential. The strategic considerations extend to the wider landscape of the NFL, where the availability of elite wide receivers is always a hot topic during the offseason. Teams must balance financial constraints, injury risk, and locker room dynamics, and adding Ayuk to the mix would be no different for the Commanders. The familiarity between Daniels and Ayuk, combined with Peters' insight into the player, creates a unique alignment of factors that other teams might not be able to replicate. This alignment could make Washington the most logical landing spot for Ayuk, provided the medical evaluations are favorable and both parties believe the reunion could yield tangible results on the field. It is a scenario that excites fans while simultaneously presenting challenges that require careful navigation by the front office. At the same time, Washington's current defensive struggles highlight the urgency of action, the team's inability to consistently produce against strong defenses, compounded by injuries to key players, has limited Daniels' opportunities and stunted offensive growth. Ayuk's addition could serve as a catalyst for change, offering not just skill and experience, but also a renewed sense of confidence for a quarterback who has had to adapt to multiple setbacks this season. The potential for immediate impact is there, and if managed properly, the risk could be mitigated through a combination of careful conditioning, smart game planning, and gradual reintegration into the offensive system. It is a delicate balance, but one that the Commanders are uniquely positioned to handle. Furthermore, the presence of Ayuk alongside McLAURIN and Samuel could redefine Washington's offensive philosophy. With three legitimate deep threats and playmakers capable of operating in multiple roles, the Commanders could open up the playbook in unprecedented ways, allowing Daniels to exploit mismatches and create explosive plays. This flexibility would make the offense far more unpredictable, forcing opposing defenses to account for multiple threats on every snap. It could also relieve pressure on the running game, as defenses are forced to spread out to cover the receiving cores, ultimately benefiting the entire team's efficiency and performance. The strategic upside is enormous, and it underscores why the Ayuk trade chatter continues to resonate among analysts and fans alike. Of course, the timing of such a move would be crucial. While the regular season still has games left to play, the reality is that Washington's immediate focus may shift toward evaluating off-season priorities and building for the future. The potential acquisition of Ayuk, if it materializes, would represent a clear signal that the organization is committed to surrounding Daniels with the talent necessary to compete at a higher level. It is a move that balances familiarity, skill, and strategic vision, offering the possibility of transforming the Commanders' offense from one that has struggled under adversity to one capable of contending with the league's best. The implications for the team's trajectory in 2026 are significant, and the discussions around Ayuk's potential arrival are likely to continue gaining momentum as the season concludes and the offseason approaches. In summary, the ongoing speculation about Brandon Ayuk joining the Washington Commanders is rooted in a compelling mix of personal connections, organizational insight, and strategic potential. Daniels' history with Ayuk, combined with Peters' knowledge of the player, creates a rare alignment that other teams may struggle to match. The risks, including injury concerns and past controversies, are real but may be outweighed by the potential rewards of adding a dynamic, high-caliber receiver to complement Samuel and McLAURIN. As the Commanders prepare to turn their attention toward the offseason, the prospect of reuniting these former college teammates presents a tantalizing opportunity to reshape the offense, energize the fan base, and lay the groundwork for a competitive campaign in 2026. While nothing is certain, the chatter continues to build, and for a franchise looking to regain its footing, the idea of bringing Ayuk to Washington represents both a practical solution and an exciting possibility for the future of the team. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. In a move that has set the entire NFL world abuzz, the Washington franchise has reportedly decided to commit what can only be described as a jaw-dropping sum to secure the services of wide receiver Terry McLaurin through the year 2030. Sources close to the team whisper that the financial commitment being discussed is unlike anything seen before in recent memory, a figure that has pundits, fans, and even rival executives shaking their heads in disbelief. Imagine, if you will, a scenario where the top brass in the organization sit around a glossy, oversized conference table, pens in hand, eyes glued to spreadsheets, contemplating numbers so vast that they could almost be mistaken for science fiction. That is reportedly what transpired in the boardrooms of Washington as the franchise prepared to lock down its star asset for nearly a decade. signaling a level of confidence and ambition that has everyone talking. The rumors circulating in media circles suggest that McLaurin's talent and work ethic are so highly prized by the team that they are willing to go to almost any length to ensure he remains in burgundy and gold, effectively making him untouchable for the foreseeable future, while official statements have been tightly controlled. The chatter online and within the locker room paints a picture of a player whose impact on and off the field has convinced ownership that this is a deal worth every penny. No matter how astronomical the sum, the financial magnitude being tossed around in these discussions is enough to make even veteran analysts pause, rub their eyes, and reread the figures, because it is not just a contract, it is a statement. The whispers suggest that Washington is not merely offering a competitive deal to keep a star performer. They are aiming to redefine what it means to show commitment to a player, setting a benchmark that could resonate across the league for years to come. Fans have taken to social media in droves, some in utter amazement, others in sheer disbelief, as they speculate on what this means for the team's long-term strategy. Will this massive expenditure limit future moves in free agency? Or is it a calculated risk designed to build a franchise around a cornerstone player who has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to change games with a single play? Analysts and insiders alike have been trading notes and making bold projections, some suggesting that this deal could send shockwaves throughout the league, prompting rival teams to reconsider their approaches to star retention and contract negotiations. At the center of this storm is, of course, Terry McLaurin himself, a player whose journey to this point has been marked by perseverance, explosive plays, and a knack for delivering under pressure. The murmurs around the league portray a man who has earned not just the admiration of teammates, but the unwavering belief of the franchise's top executives. To commit a fortune of this scale to one player, extending through the better part of a decade, indicates a level of trust that few athletes in the modern game ever experience. Some insiders suggest that McLaurin's influence in the locker room, combined with his on-field production, makes him irreplaceable, effectively cementing him as the face of the franchise for years to come. The story being told in whispers also hints at a calculated strategy behind the scenes, one in which the team hopes to create a dynasty around its key talents. While sending a loud message to both fans and competitors, Washington is not here to follow trends. It is here to define them. Rumors indicate that this deal was the culmination of months of negotiation, late-night calls, and countless strategy sessions, with executives weighing every potential scenario before committing. Imagine the tension in those rooms, the careful balancing act between fiscal responsibility and the desire to secure a generational talent. Sources suggest that there were moments of heated debate, moments where it seemed the franchise might pull back, and then, almost abruptly, a consensus emerged. Terry McLaurin is too valuable to risk losing, and no figure is too high when the goal is to lock in excellence for years. Fans have not been shy about their reactions either. Discussion boards, podcasts, and social media feeds are overflowing with speculation, breaking down what this means for salary cap maneuvering, future draft picks, and the overall trajectory of the team. The narrative is not just about money, it is about ambition, loyalty, and the lengths to which a franchise is willing to go to preserve its identity. Industry insiders are also keen to point out that this move could reshape the market for elite wide receivers across the league. If Washington is willing to invest a staggering sum in McLaurin, what does that mean for other star players who are approaching contract renewals? The ripple effect could be significant, forcing teams to reevaluate their valuation metrics and perhaps even reconsider long-standing philosophies regarding player compensation. Meanwhile, the narrative within Washington circles is equally compelling. The franchise is reportedly ecstatic about the talent it has retained, and sources suggest that teammates have reacted with a mix of excitement and awe, understanding that the organization's commitment to McLaurin is a signal of broader ambitions to build something lasting and competitive. This is not a short-term move. This is a franchise reshaping itself around a singular talent, and insiders hint that the ripple effects will be felt in both the locker room and in stadiums filled with energized, hopeful fans for years to come. Adding another layer to the intrigue are the whispers about McLaurin's own perspective on this gargantuan commitment. While official statements remain polished and carefully worded, insiders suggest that he is both honored and energized by the faith shown in him. A player of his caliber, they say, recognizes the weight of such a deal and the implicit responsibility that comes with being viewed as the centerpiece of an organization. Rumors paint a picture of McLAURIN approaching the upcoming seasons with renewed vigor, a sense of ownership over his role, and an understanding that the franchise sees him not just as a star on the field, but as a symbol of the team's identity and future direction. The narrative in these discussions is vibrant, filled with speculation about how this financial commitment will shape training, leadership dynamics, and the overarching culture within the franchise. For fans, it is nothing short of intoxicating to imagine the impact of retaining a player who embodies both skill and heart for the team, wrapped in a contract that signals Washington's intent to dominate not just in the present, but far into the decade. There are also murmurings from league insiders that rival teams are watching with a mixture of envy and strategic concern. Locking in a talent like McLAURIN for such an extended period could, in theory, create a competitive imbalance, prompting discussions in front offices across the league about how to counter such a bold move. Analysts have been dissecting the numbers, comparing them to previous record-setting contracts, and speculating on the long-term consequences for the sport as a whole. Some whispers suggest that the deal is so unprecedented that it may spark a new era of contract negotiations, one where elite talents demand not just top dollar, but unparalleled security and influence within their organizations. Meanwhile, the fans of Washington are reportedly in a state of euphoric speculation, debating how McLaurin's continued presence will affect team chemistry, game strategies, and even ticket sales. Social media feeds are filled with everything from highlight reels to speculative threads, with hashtags trending that reflect the mixture of awe, excitement, and disbelief at the magnitude of what has reportedly transpired behind the scenes. To put it lightly, Washington's reported decision to pour a fortune into retaining Terry McLaurin until the year 2030 is not merely a contractual maneuver, it is a bold statement of intent. The ripples of this rumored move are extending far beyond the confines of the franchise, touching rival teams, analysts, fans, and even the broader culture of the NFL. The narrative that continues to build around McLAURIN is one of loyalty, skill, and unparalleled ambition, as the whispers hint that Washington is determined to construct not just a competitive team, but a lasting legacy. While official confirmation remains pending, the chatter, speculation, and excitement are already at a fever pitch, with each new tidbit only adding fuel to a story that has the potential to be remembered for years as one of the boldest, most audacious moves in modern football history. Every rumor, every hint, every insider whisper seems to point toward a single conclusion. Terry McLaurin has become more than just a player for Washington. He is a symbol of a franchise willing to bet the farm on excellence, and the NFL landscape may never be quite the same again. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.